But when we're done,
Ready? Okay. Welcome, everybody. We're going to stand to the pledge and move your hats, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, well, welcome, everybody. We've got a nice crowd. And are we, does he get the?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. So, well, there's no public comment, so we'll go right in. We'll call the meeting to order. I need a motion to approve last month's board meeting. Motion. Minutes. Chuck, a second. Toby, all in favor, raise your right hand, and that will go 5-0. Move right into ISBA. I see there is no report.
No. With policy, update 38.2 was just released with Neola, so I will be actually meeting with them next week and reviewing policy, and I will be bringing proposed changes for draft 1, hopefully in June. Okay.
Ms. Morgan.
All right. I'm going to start with our data trends that we've been looking at. So to a point in the school year where we're wrapping up, we have a lot of our data. So just want to kind of see where we're at and where we've been in the past. You will see on your document that it starts with IREAD 3. We are right in the middle of taking our second round. We've had some really good success so far. Yay, Topeka. They're the only building that has taken it. And yeah, so no shade to Shipshe and Meadowview there. But we don't have that data yet, so just kind of skip through that point. Looking at iLearn, we continue to see really positive trends with iLearn. ELA scores are staying fairly consistent in the low 50% range. We did not really see much of an implementation dip at all. You guys know we had a new curriculum, and so sometimes you do see some dips as teachers are getting used to it, kids are getting used to it. We have not seen that so far in the checkpoints, so that feels really good. Math is continuing to stay kind of our consistent higher, and we're continuing to have growth. We're climbing from about 60% to 69, and we reached a top ranking as a school in the state, which feels really good. And then if you flip to the back, you'll see our SAT data. Remember, this is a college level test that all of our juniors are now taking, so feeling really excited about how our kids are scoring on this. Showing growth in our English from 58% to about a 70, before a slight decline to a 64. And then math scores were able to grow this year up to a 51%, so seeing growth there, which felt really good. Checkpoint data, then that we're continuing to see really steady growth on our checkpoint data as well. Just a reminder, we will not have summative scores for our iLearn until September. So they're doing new cut scores this year because they changed the test. They didn't change the test, they took some questions off that were aligned to old standards. And because they did that, they have to create new cut scores this summer. So we sent home letters to parents letting them know, you know, they've received all their checkpoint scores, but they will not receive summative scores until next fall. So, but checkpoint scores are looking good. We looked at some cohort data. So I took, 6th grade from this year and looked at their 5th grade scores on checkpoints and so on. And we're just trying to, pay attention to where there may be some gaps that we need to fill and things like that. But just extremely proud of the hard work of both our teachers and our students and how well they do in all of this. So any questions on our data? Next thing I have to share, it was a really fun past couple of weeks. We did our kindergarten roundup, and we had a little bit of a change this year. It's always been called Seek in the past, and it was pretty intensive. Things have changed, data has changed that we now receive from our students throughout the school year, and so Dr. Carroll, myself, and the K-4 principals sat down and we came up with, what is the purpose? What do we want this to be? And one of the main purposes was, one, to make sure we're getting our kindergartners and their parents in our schools ahead of time and help them feel comfortable, excited to come to kindergarten, and really make that community connection, along with being able to find any outliers that we need to support students when they come to us as kindergartners. And so we made some tweaks and it went wonderful. Principals were amazing, did a great job. Teachers were amazing. I kind of gave you some highlights that we did. Students came in and they had the opportunity to play in the kindergarten classroom. There was Play-Doh. oh gosh, there was
Puzzles,
yeah,
Legos,
yeah. It was really cool to see them in a kindergarten classroom, really getting excited about it. We had some people observing behaviors while they were playing, and then we also had teachers pull out and be able to do just a quick, simple math assessment with them, counting one-to-one correspondence and then letters, so that they could see where the kids were at with letters. Very quick. We did have Amish and Arabic volunteers that came in and helped with some translation, which was great. And then parents still had their parent session where they could kind of hear what it was about, fill out paperwork. And we had about 188 kindergartners and smiling faces, and it was a lot of fun. So that went really well. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to share, we want to honor some students, but I think we might be waiting on one more. I think they're going to try to get here. So I'm going to move to our accountability model, and I have some slides up on the board as well so that the community can see this. And before I start, we actually brought in Steve Baker, who was a former principal at Bluffton, and he has served for lots of years, and he has served on like the state accountability committee for a lot of years as well, and so he was very involved in all of the drafts of the accountability model. And so we had him come in and speak to our staff today, which was great. It was really nice for them to hear from someone who, you know, has been very involved in this and be able to feel like our staff have a really good understanding of this. And so I feel it's very important for you guys to hear it as well, and for the community as much as we can to also have them have an understanding. So legislation last year, they put into play that schools are now going to get a school letter grade again. It's been 7 years since schools have received a letter grade, and this will take place next year. And so they are basing it on these criteria, so academic mastery, career and post-secondary readiness, communication and collaboration, work ethic, and then civic, financial, and digital literacy. So those are the 5 characteristics that the state wanted to align it to. And so then they had measurements for this. Academic mastery, obviously this is going to be a lot of our standardized testing. Reading, math, science, social studies. The career and post-secondary readiness is the new diploma seals for the high school. Communication and collaboration, we have not seen what that's going to look like yet. There are some schools that are piloting that, but we have not seen that. Work ethic is regular attendance. And then civic, financial, and digital literacy is the required courses that are now for graduation. So this is just this. This was in legislation. They approved this in March of this year. So you guys have seen the one pager. I told you guys this was coming, but then it was going to go into more depth. So the key milestones that they're looking at a K-3 chunk, a 4-8, a 9-12, and a 9-10, and an 11-12. It's kind of how they're breaking that down. And then, like I said, so they're going to have all these different layers that they're including in this model. But one thing that they've changed from the past is that in the past it was just academic mastery, basically. Like 7 years ago, it was how students did on either iLearn or iStep, and that's all that we got points for. They have added ways that students can get points, which I think is really good. Like, I do think that is a positive. They are also now doing it per student. So each student is going to earn points for our school and for our corporation. And it will be based on academic mastery plus plus the skills and the additional pieces. So just some quick things. I just want to remind you guys we had no grade for the past 7 years. We will receive a grade next November and December. So we will receive an A through F grade for our schools and for our corporation both. That will be based on this year's data. There are no school averages. Each student will then earn their points. Students that are with us with 162 days or more will count, which is we're used to that with data in general, like our iLearn scores and all of that. Each student in 3 through 8 will have the opportunity to earn points for both math and ELA. They're going to use the 90, 80, 70, 60 grading scale. I talked about that we're going to get a grade. And then students can earn a maximum of 3 additional knowledge, skills, and experience, and I'll kind of talk about that just a little bit. And then grade 12 will actually be the 2025 graduation cohort. So grade 12 will always be a year behind. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to just go into a little bit of each scenario. I do really think it's important as these grades come out. That's what public is going to see. Public is going to see if this school got an A or if this school got a B. And so I think it's really important for as many people as we can to know and hear how these grades were calculated. And one of the biggest components of this that's in every single grade band is attendance. And attendance is the state has done research and they have decided that 10% or 10 days or less, if they miss more than 10 days of school, it will then impact their learning. And so they are now at 94% attendance rate is where it will count as a attendance, they have been in attendance. So a student cannot miss more than 10 days or else they will not get the point. So we are, Dr. Carroll is leading the admin team through working on a district-wide attendance policy to try to help support that. Okay, so for K3, right now, it's really only third grade. Third grade is really the only one that can help us. And there is a gate in third grade, and that gate is iRead. So they will receive their points for iLearn, ELA, and math, but if they don't pass iRead, they cannot earn any more of the points. So even though all those additional skills over there are available, they cannot earn them if they don't pass iRead. So if they do pass iRead between second grade and the end of third grade, so that's 5 opportunities, they will receive a point for that. There's accelerated literacy, which is when we have our second grade students. Our second grade students have 3 score options. They can either receive a pass, an on track, or an at risk. And an at risk, if they leave second grade with an at risk, but then we are able to get them passed in third grade, they will get an additional point for that as well. And I'll tell you right now, our teachers are great with that. Our data, I've tracked that data through the years, and our teachers have done a wonderful job of getting those kids to pass. There's the attendance on there, and then our EL students also have a chance to earn points if they meet their expected growth on MEDA, which is their language test, or if they get their language proficiency of 5, then they can also earn a point. So the students will get their ELA and their math, and then they can earn up to 3 of those points for their own. Okay, so then 4 through 6, this is everyone. So I'll kind of go through these. I'll try to go quickly through these. We have our iLearn proficiency over on the side. Adolescent reading proficiency. So again, you guys have heard, I feel like you guys hear about iRead all the time. Now that we have the law passed for iRead, if they do not pass in third grade and they have a good cause exemption, they can move on. They still have to retest until they get into 7th grade. So 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. So those students, if they pass in any one of those grades, they will get a point for that grade. The next one, we take iLearn Science in 4th and 6th grade, and if they get a pass, there's no growth with this, it's just either a pass or do not pass, and if they pass, they will get a point for that. Same with iLearn Social Studies in 5th grade, they will get a point for that as well. We have our ELL opportunity with the same that I talked about with 3rd grade. We have attendance, and then we have 1 year of academic progress. So this is basically saying that the child has grown the normal amount that we would expect a child to grow on iLearn from 1 year to the next. We have not, I don't get to see that right now, but the state is telling us that we will be able to see that on future reports. Then they could also get an acceleration, which would be they have more than 1 year's growth on iLearn, and those students would actually get a point for that and a point for the 1 year of academic progress. So they could actually earn 2 points if they get this one. Adolescent reading, so, we already saw that one.
Did it double?
I don't know.
It's okay. Let's keep going.
It's not moving to the next level.
What's going on?
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right.
Okay, but that really sums up, there's the one more on there is the excellence in academic progress, with it, which is growth to proficiency. So basically our students that are in grades, or they score below or approaching on iLearn, if they are able to meet the expected growth that they need to in order to eventually pass, then they will get actually all 3 points. It's an automatic, they get the max points that they can get.
I'm working on it.
It's still being funky.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull up what you said.
Okay, so that's grades 4 through 6. 7 through 8 is very similar. They're gonna have their ELA math and ELA and math on iLearn. They're gonna have their 1 year of academic progress, which is being able to grow the normal amount. They're gonna have the acceleration, which is growth for more than 1 year, the excellence, regular school attendance, and then there's 2 new categories for 7th and 8th grade. And one of them is the completing a graduation plan for grade 7. So in order to complete, what they're asking 7th graders to do is based on their SEALs and what their plan is for their high school pathways, they're asking them to have that filled out as 7th graders and have parents commit and or sign off on that and say that they also like basically want they're gonna support their child in their academic future. It is not, this is very important, that is not locking the child into that. So that does not mean that the child decides, okay, I think I want to go into this SEAL as a 7th grader, and then they get to 10th grade and they're like, I don't want to do this SEAL anymore, I want a different route. They can make that change. It is just a plan and having parents sign off for it. So if we get that return from parents, that would be a point for those students. The other one is the high school level coursework in middle school. So currently we offer Algebra 1 for math, we offer PCC, which is careers in college. So like, what?
Preparing for.
There you go, I could not think of what the P was for. Computer Foundation and Personal Finance. So we offer all 4 of those classes in 8th grade. They get credit for high school, and so they can get points for that as well. So that's 7th and 8th. 9th and 10th is definitely where it gets a little bit trickier. We actually had Steve Baker stay and present to the 7-12. Dr. Carroll and Julie Leeper presented 5-6 a little bit more in depth. Myself and the 3 elementary principals presented K-4, and then we had Steve Baker present 7-12 because it's just a little bit more, there's a lot more nuances to it. So they broke it into 2 grade bands. They have 9 through 10. Their academic mastery is not a test, it's actually their credits. So students are expected to have 10 high school credits by the end of 9th grade. And 2 in math, 2 in English, and 2 in science, social studies, or foreign language. And then their additional, they have their college and career coursework. So earn 6 credits in college and career coursework would get them 1. CTE coursework. So they have to have 2 non-duplicative courses with C or higher in their pathway. Proficiency in iLearn Biology. So we have been taking iLearn Biology for quite a while now. A lot of our freshmen take it, some sophomores. They take it at the completion of their biology year. Beat their benchmark on PSAT. So our 10th graders take PSAT. And then they have, you can see that regular school attendance is there again, and then our ELL. And then we get to 11 and 12, and this is new. So we all got to see this draft from we got to see a draft from, I would say, about November until March. We had this second draft and we were like feeling good about it, we understand it, and then in March they put the new draft out and this was one of the parts that they added. So they decided that in 11 and 12 they're actually going to have an 80-10-10 calculation. So 80% of the students' points are going to come from something like similar to this. 10% is going to come from the graduation rate, and then 10% is going to come from our students that are proficiency on the SAT. So someone on the committee felt the SAT was very important and they wanted it in there, and so I know that that was kind of this was their way of getting it in there. So, but remember we had 100% graduation rate last year, so going strong. IEM can also be utilized, so those are our applied skills. That's a standardized test that our applied skills students take. I talked about SAT and I talked about graduation. So their mastery, instead of an assessment, is going to be the SEAL, the diplomas. So students are going to get points on if they have their diploma, if they have their honor SEAL, or their honor plus SEAL. And then they have, their additional options are work-based learning, so that's any 150 hours of work-based learning. Credential of value, so they have to earn a certificate. Example is our Impact. We have a lot of students that go to Impact and earn a certificate at Impact. That would count for that. College and career coursework, so earn 6 dual credit college courses. Proficiency on iLearn US government. Actually, Mr. Glassman is here, and he did give this year to his government students. We really appreciate, he was super flexible. We have never given the iLearn government before. But we asked, this year, we know this is in place, we know we're going to be scored on this, So he kind of just jumped on with us and gave the iLearn government for the first time. So we'll just, kind of keep monitoring that. There's that regular school attendance. Proficiency on iLearn biology is up there, but I didn't put that on here again because not very many of our students take it in 11th and 12th. Meet English or math benchmark on the ACT or CLT. Those are not tests that we give as a school. That would be if a student chooses to take it on their own on like a Saturday. And then we have the WIDA for that. So, I know that was a lot in a short amount of time. Yes, it is definitely a lot of information. I will continue, please let me know if you guys have questions. As soon as we have any kind of information on, what this could look like for us, what our grades could be, we will make sure you have that as soon as possible. Dr. Carroll and I would like to continue, I think, to brainstorm on how we can continue to communicate these with our community, because again, the first thing people are going to see is this school got an A and this school, they're just, so knowing what's behind that, we have a lot of amazing things going on at Westview, and continuing to just do what's best for kids is going to end up having those results we want. So, all right, this is my favorite part. I know that was really boring, but this part is really cool. So this year, the state of Indiana actually partnered with the National Math Stars, and they honored students that scored in the top 2% of all of the third graders in the state of Indiana on iLearn checkpoints for math. And so these students have an opportunity to apply to do something a little bit more with these National Math Stars, or we just get to celebrate them and say how amazing they are, because the top 2% of all the third graders in the state of Indiana is pretty darn cool. And the cooler thing about it is that we actually had 2 from every building, which is incredible. And so Dr. Carroll and I got to go around to each classroom, and we got to recognize these students. And it was just so much fun, and their little excitement, and it was amazing. And we invited them to the school board, so I would love for them to get to come up and us recognize these students that were here. So if you earned the award, would you mind coming up? Would you mind saying your name and who your teacher is and what school you go to?
I'm Nolan Webber. I go to Shipshawana Elementary School. My teacher is Mrs. Sheets. I'm Audrey Glassman. I go to Shipshawana, and my teacher is Mrs. Funny.
My name's Kyra. I go to Topeka Elementary, and my teacher is Miss Tomkamp.
And what's your guys' favorite subject?
Reading and math.
Reading or math? They both.
Math.
Math. See, that's I figured all of you guys would think math. But I just think it's really, this is a crazy cool accomplishment of our students, and I mean, this is a lot of kids. I know it maybe feels like, we're small, but there's a lot of third graders in the state of Indiana. So you guys should be super, super proud of yourselves. So, yes.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And feel free to leave. You do not need to stay for the rest of the meeting unless you would like to.
I'm sorry you had to sit through that accountability.
All right. We're gonna move on.
You want?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that is all I have.
Yep.
That's okay. Thanks, Morgan. Great job. Great job. So, special services.
Me,
Miss
my
Jasmine.
turn. Normally I bring you guys special ed data and information, but my title is actually Director of Special Services, so I'm going to bring you some other special services here at Westview. The first thing I want to highlight is our threat assessment. This past July 1, there was a new Indiana code we were blessed with, which pretty much mandated that all schools needed to have an established threat assessment team. And so this year we have grown through this process and procedures. We've made a ton of adjustments and tweaked things as we've lived it and learned it. We were presented with many unique situations we hadn't planned for. It was just a really good experience, and we really did adapt and adjust based on what we were given. And we tried to, really meet this code. And so I just kind of want to shout out Officer Conwell and Officer Flowers for establishing a lot of these processes and just being a part of every single assessment that we've done. Also our counselors and our SSIs for the amount of work it has taken to kind of get this lifted off of the ground. So I just wanted to report to you guys on that. I also wanted to just kind of thank our student, staff, and community members because they really truly have all played important roles in this process. We do have an anonymous reporting system on our website, on our social media, and that's been used 16 times this year, which just means people are willing to come and bring their concerns to our community or to our corporation so we can address them. And then I really, really want to highlight our motto: if you see or hear something, say something. It's on the back of our student handbooks. It's posted all over our schools. And it's just a really, really important piece of information that we want to communicate to our community and our staff and our kids, that if you see something or hear something that's not right, please say something so we can get involved. And I'm proud of this process, even though it has brought us a couple headaches this year, but we are still growing through it. So just wanted to bring that to you guys. And then I also wanted to highlight McKinney-Vento. I don't know if we've ever talked about McKinney-Vento at a board meeting, but McKinney-Vento is our Homeless Assistance Act that is required in Indiana, and it pretty much means that we cannot discriminate against a child who's experiencing homelessness, and that we need to provide education as quickly and as swiftly as we can. And right now, I think our district is currently servicing 8 students. And so I think, we think we live in a great community, but we still have kiddos who are at risk. And just providing those services in a timely manner, enrolling them in school, helping out with lunches when we can, helping with transportation, that's all under that McKinney-Vento law. So that's something that we constantly are looking at, and we have every year, twice a year actually, we send out enrollment forms to the community to see kind of, it's the housing questionnaire to see if we're in housing or if we need more support, and that's kind of how we start that qualification process. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that a little bit because typically I go the SPED route, but these are some other special services that we do have here at Westview. So any questions on that?
How do they can hide? How do they become aware? I can give it broad, just a high level awareness, because obviously it's hard to be even aware that.
It is, and that's where we really rely on parents to give us that information. So our housing questionnaire has a bunch of different lists. Are you in permanent housing? If they mark yes, we don't do anything with that. If they mark that they're doubled up, they might be living with a relative due to economic hardship. If they're living in a shelter, if they're living at a campground, if they mark any of those other areas, it's then our counselor and our student support interventionist job to follow up on that. There's a whole qualification and evaluation kind of process that we go through where we have questionnaires we have to ask, we have to collect data, and sometimes that can be really hard. Sometimes parents don't want to share, and that's okay. And if they don't share, we don't go any further. If they do share and they qualify, then we turn that over and provide the services that we can through that law. So it is federally funded. But yeah, it's a long process. Sometimes it can feel like a long process, but the whole goal is to provide support as quick as we can. So, yeah.
Thanks, Ed. So you got anything for your transportation?
Yeah. I think Kendra's going to cover it.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
There's not much to
Okay.
cover, so Yo apologizes for being unable to be here this evening, and entrusted me with her report. Do you have any questions? I'll tell you anything you need to know.
Shut up.
This is really good job. She will not tell you how big of a deal this is. I'm gonna toot her horn. Every single one of our buses started, we had a few that had to go back through. We had our inspector here 2 days, and we were able to pass all of them. And that's just a kudos to her department, especially Christine and Justin. The work that they do, they're on site and they're ready to go. Oh, this is bad? Okay, let me quick fix it. And they get it and they run it back through and it's good to go. So we're 100%. That's really awesome.
Good.
And then she's ready to go. She's got all hands on deck. We've got the renovations pretty well licked at this point, so everybody, the contractors are out of the way, and we can just focus on what we need to do here. So she's ready to go. She's waiting for summer break. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good job, Kendra.
Thanks. I don't want her job though.
We don't have
Nothing
anything
for
for technology.
technology, I see. Then Miss Kendra, you're up again.
Oh, look at that. ECA compliance review, I knew this was coming, been waiting. We really can't even talk about it publicly until it is publicly released. SBOA every 2 years does a compliance review on our ECA accounts, especially the ones that exceed a certain threshold. Specifically, they look at the activity at the high school and the Westview Elementary, but they do have to conduct a survey. So from start to finish, they reached out to us on January 6th. And they had everything done by February 23rd when we had our exit interview. So for less than 2 months, for 2 years worth of reviewing, that's pretty darn good. There may have been somebody on the exit interview who was in Florida at the time, but it took 11 minutes of his time to attend that exit interview. I'm really proud of the girls, the secretary bookkeepers at each of the schools for those ECA accounts, the principals, the job that they do. To have all of the documents that they're looking at. 15 samples out of 50 different documents were really looked at closely. We had one comment. There was a missing receipt for one of the events at the Westview Elementary from like 4 years ago. It was there, everything else was there, just that one stinking receipt. It's a little piece of paper. It probably got shoved in the box. But they just gave us a comment, otherwise there was no findings. So really well done. Secretaries, bookkeepers did a great job with keeping their stuff organized. It was pretty painless. And I do just have a copy of the report. This is available on the SBOA's website, the Board of Accounts website, but a copy is also provided for you. Building renovation review, just specifically the finances side of it. I saved you guys, you're welcome. The big paper, I did not put 10 pages of
Thank
big
you.
paper in there, you're welcome, so I summarized it here. Like I said, renovation projects are done or nearly done. Topeka, we're done, we've paid everything up with that, that feels good. Shipshewana-Scott, we do have one final retainage invoice that actually just came in 2 days ago. So section 2, the Shipshewana-Scott Elementary reno from 23-24 from when I first arrived, that's done. We paid all of our vendors there. And then also Roman numeral 3 for the reno, phase 2 of the renovation at Shipshewana-Scott. It says 5 contractors with retainage only. It's now only 3 because we did get, or excuse me, now only 2 because we received the final invoices from 3 of those contractors 2 days ago. So, like, I got 5 or 6 invoices to pay just in the last week since this report already came out. And then our GO bond, that's also done. All of the projects that PSI helped us with the HVAC updates and the various equipment and projects that we've been able to do with the general obligation bond from 2023, over $5.3 million in stuff that we were able to get done. There is a small amount of accrued interest in that account that we are able to transfer into our operations account because every check's been written. So, and we're within arbitrage compliance, so that feels good too. The bond is still non-taxable. Any questions on that stuff? Okay, financial report. You did receive everything before this evening. And then tonight I did give you a 1-page summary of this whole packet of stuff. It's looking at what our budget is, what our estimated revenue is, where we're benchmarking at this point. This is through April, so it's January through April. We should be about 33% of the way done for the year. In some places, we're right on benchmark. That's where you're gonna see the green boxes. If you see red boxes, it's because we're maybe over the benchmark or under the benchmark, depending on if it's revenue or expenses. The chart at the bottom, I think I might change the colors because when they print, they're pretty dark and it's hard to tell. But by and large right now, it looks like we're just deficit spending, but the biggest reason is we don't have our property tax revenue yet. That'll come in next month. We only get that twice a year, June and December. So that's why, like in the operating referendum fund, the debt service fund, those currently show negative balances. It's okay, when we close June 30th, they will be positive. There's no need for temporary transfers or anything like that. State aid and our tuition, that did finally get updated to include our spring ADM. That was done in February. It takes them a couple of months to get that data released and then get the tuition payment updated to reflect that. And actually, right now, we're gearing up for budget estimates for next school year already. So I'm gonna be reaching out to a few people and getting some numbers from them to see what our revenue is gonna look like next year. Let's see, what else do I have in here? The other two big things that I'm really proud of, food service. A few years ago, we were deficit spending about $18,000 a month, and in the past 6 months, we've been surplus of about $900 a month on average. It's not much, it's not hemorrhaging though. The 18,000 that we were outgoing versus we're saving 900 a month now. We have a long ways to go. We're not out of the weeds, but all of our food service staff have dug in and rolled up their sleeves to put in the work for recovering our food service fund. The other big celebration is our health service fund, our health insurance fund rather. When I first got here, those were the two funds that I was told, like, Kendra, you gotta figure these out. Something's wrong, we don't know what, maybe it's a lot of things, maybe it's one thing, but you gotta tackle it. Priority one was health insurance fund, has to be solvent. We gotta be able to provide health insurance for our staff and pay for our claims as a self-funded group. We had a benchmark of having a cash balance of $750,000, and close of April we had $814,000. So I'm really proud of that. It took a lot of work. We took some pretty deep, pretty large increases on our premiums, and I'm hoping that we can stabilize those. Insurance always goes up, it never goes down. But man, if we could have some rate holds or some small increases instead of double-digit increases like we had to do for a couple of years. The other big thing is people are getting healthy, they're taking care of themselves. We've got a lot of options available for our staff. We do a really good job with direct contracts and availability. Parkview is kind of taking over Northeast Indiana. So we've got a new account manager. We're gonna see what kind of, if there's any kind of opportunities to work with Parkview, since they are all over around here. And if we want to go to anything that's in network, we got to travel a little bit. But if we had Parkview, they're everywhere, right here. So we're exploring that. That is an upcoming call that I'm going to have with our executive, our account executive. But to go from 2 years ago, we were insolvent in the fund by $200,000 to exceeding our cash balance expectation at the $814,000. I'm very proud of that work. Yep, and the committee that has supported that. That's everything, guys. Unless you have
Everything?
questions.
Great job. Action items, agenda.
So we need the claims approved.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve the claims. Chad, in a second. Toby, all in favor, raise your right hand. That's 5-0.
And we do not have any donations over the $5,000
Okay.
limit this past month. But we will need a motion on all of our staff recommendations, and as you can see, there are several. They're all, this is the time of the year, certified, classified, and then extracurricular, and our volunteers, if we would need a motion for all of K.
Yeah, 2K. I need a motion to approve them. Carrie, need a second. Toby, all in favor, raise your right hand. That's 5-0.
Okay. And we do have some additional action items to be considered. I know, Ward, in your book, you have an updated program plan from March. I've updated that, and the changes are highlighted in it for you. So, I think let's do that one separate if you're okay with that. So I'd like an action for L for the revised program plan.
A motion to approve L. Chuck, no second. Carrie, second. All in favor, raise your right hand. That's 5-0.
Thank you. And then M is that exact program plan with names attached. So you can see our staffing plan of who will be where. So I need a motion for
That
M.
needs, okay, I need a motion for M. Do I have them? Carrie, Chuck, all in favor, raise your right hand. That's 5-0.
And then think we can do a motion for N and O together, but it's the junior high, gym softball field rental, Warrior Youth Softball, April through July. And Brittany Wilson is in charge of that. And then we have Westview Junior High School State Track Meet, May 22nd, May 23rd with Erica Moore. So, gotta get approval for those.
I need a motion to approve and no vote. Chad, second, Toby, all in favor, raise your right hand, that's 5-0.
All right, thank you. All right, so,
Superintendent's report.
yeah, I have asked Officer Conwell and Officer Flowers if they would present a really neat program that they put on here, and I've never heard of it till I came to Westview. So, I'm gonna turn over to the two of you. Okay.
Just right here, okay?
Yeah, wherever you would like.
Okay. Well, for those who don't know me, I'm Jackie Conwell. I'm one of the SROs here at Westview.
You all know who I am. I'm Ed Flowers. This is a really neat program. I spoke to, and we are the only ones around here that are doing it. I spoke to Prairie Heights, Lakeland, West Noble, Fairfield, Northridge. None of them are in it, and they all have said, you know, man, we wish we had something like this, that we could do it. And
When we started this program, we were actually teaching it to ninth graders, and it was difficult because that was co-ed PE, so it was hard to split the boys from the girls. So we switched to 8th grade, and then from there we actually worked with the principal into getting it implemented as part of their PE program. So now we teach all 8th grade girls self-defense. So, we use, it's called RAD systems. Basically, I mean, it's a very basic class, beginner level from making a fist, everything you need to know. This program is really cool because at any time, any program in the United States, girls can go back, even if it's across the United States, and practice what they've learned. It's a lifetime return and practice policy. It also includes a course manual where it lists everything in detail of what they learned throughout the whole course, so they can always refer back to it. Some of our instructors that we use Strip One Police Department, the police coordinator, Carlos Oliveras, he's our Lakeland SRO. And then we use our sheriff, actually, with LaGrange County, Sheriff Harker, and then one of the jail corporals, Tasha Blodgett. So they kind of pop in and help out where it fits in their schedule. This is just an example of what our schedule looks like. Just daily, every day we start stretch, warm up, and then we'll jump into new things as far as physical movements and things like that. Just in a visual. Day one is actually classroom. So everyone is sitting down. I'm going through all of the paperwork, the parental consent forms. Those are just mandated as far as putting on the RAD program. And then we jump into our PowerPoint. This is where we kind of run through like situations, just to kind of keeping their head on a swivel, not down in their phone, things like that. So we just talk about a lot of different things, make them aware.
and make them understand also that, okay, if you're in an uncomfortable situation, you're better off to leave than to try and force your way through it. You're much better to get away from a problem than to be a part of that problem.
So this is like one of the more fun parts of the program. So days 2 through 8, they're actually on the mats, and you can see up there all of the things that we go through. Like I said, every day we start with a stretch, warm up, and we review what we have learned thus far, and then we add something new every day. So those are just all the techniques. 9 and 10 are simulation days. So as you can see in the photos, you can see all the girls get to gear up, and they get to actually beat up on officers. And we tell them, you don't ever get to do this again in your life without being charged. So they love that. So we actually brought a video. It is super cool just to see what they learn from the classes, and they put it to use. So this is just one of them. She gets away. But you can
everybody in the background cheering for them. Like, it is just so awesome how really they get into it. So on day 11, we do certificates. We also present a Westview Warrior Mindset Award, which is selected by Officer Flowers and I. Basically, someone who just sticks out from both classes, so we choose one each semester, because we're actually doing 2 classes per semester. And this year, they were actually 6th and 7th periods, so we were teaching classes back to back for like 2 weeks straight. So that was exhausting, but it was so rewarding. Like, this is probably one of the most rewarding parts of my job, is teaching these girls, and so like how empowered they are afterwards. So, and they get to watch their own videos. We actually videotape so that they can watch, because a lot of times when they're in those situations, like they're just overcome with adrenaline and they forget what they actually did to react or how they reacted. So then we watch the video and they're just like, that's not me. No, I didn't do that. So it's really, really cool to see the reaction. And we do an evaluation just to see how we're doing. It's part of the RAD program. And obviously, we have 100% confidence builder. Everyone has better confidence after the completion of this course. And then I added some quotes that we received from the girls. So it's just a really cool program. Love it.
Well, one of the worst reviews we had was that we don't have enough time. They'd like to have more time doing it.
And
But it's a great program, it really is.
We're actually, and because of that, we've gotten that continuously on a couple of our evaluations. So we've actually worked in to add another day where we just review before we jump into simulation. So hopefully that will.
But this thing really works for two reasons, and that's Shipshewana Police Department really steps up. They lend us their stuff to use.
The other year.
They provide us with guest instructors and things like that. They even provided us with purchasing manuals for the girls this time. So we haven't had they have not had cost them anything. It hasn't cost the school corporation a lot of money or anything like that. I think the most it's cost the school is for us to be recertified every year. And the other reason is because of her. She puts a ton of time into this thing and does a really good job at it.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you for the
both.
invitation.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for coming.
Okay.
Okay, so moving along, we did have some donations that I would just like to give a thank you from our district. And Tara donated $500 for Teacher Appreciation Week, and we were able to go out and purchase gift certificates from local restaurants in our area and give them to our teachers today during PD Day. So a big hit was Destination 814. That was like a big sigh in the room. So we appreciate Tara for supporting our teachers in our district. Maple Lane Farm and Cedar Creek Meats for their donations for Burger Bash, which I am going to talk about here in just a minute. First State Bank for $532.85 for school spirit assistance. LaGrange Soil and Water District, Conservation District, they donated $197 to Westview FFA. H&H Farm Toys, $500 to Westview FFA. And Dutchman Hospitality Group was $681.79 for meals for our boys basketball team. So, moving on here, I wanted to share this information. We had our Burger Bash Day, and I was able to go around to the buildings and talk with students, and I just wanted to share that the daily school lunch participation rate our current average is 70% in the K4 buildings and 50% at the secondary level. But you can see with the Burger Bash, it was a hit. The junior senior high had a 70% rate that day, and Meadowview was 87, Shipshe was 88, Topeka was 93, and Westview Elementary was almost 90%. So, and there were a total of 71 adults who ate a burger that day. And I wanted to say, was talking to some kindergartners at Topeka, and one of them said, "That burger is as big as my head." they were so excited, and they just continued to say, "This is the best meal ever." So I just wanted to share out those numbers with you. I thought you might, find that interesting. So, and we're appreciative of that day. So thank you again. I did want to give some shout outs to our athletic department. Our girls tennis team finished their regular season undefeated this year. both varsity and JV, and they won the NECC title for regular season. We did have one undefeated regular season athlete in singles, Cam Krishner, who finished the season 13-0. Our boys golf team won the Lakeland Invite, and they currently have a 10-0 record, so that's amazing. And there's a whole list of boys track and field here, and Noah Bontrager has many, many, many. I could probably read all night long. But you know, one really big one for him was that he broke the 800-meter record with a time of 1:47, which was an incredible 5.55 seconds faster than the previous record holder. So a shout out to boys track and field, and then girls track and field. We had a 400 NECC runner, Jordan Wasson, with a time of 1:01. So just a few athletic shout outs as well. And then the next one on the agenda is our student voice roundtable. Julie Leeper and Morgan helped me run our first student voice roundtable. We had 30 4th grade through 12th grade students who came together to have their voices heard, and we asked them, what do you love about Westview? And they had an opportunity to share with us what they loved about Westview, and then they had an opportunity to share with us areas that they wanted to see growth in. And so I'm really excited for next week. We're going to take that information back to our building admin team and share it with them. And you know, I've watched this happen before with student voices. Real action can happen off of what students think need to be changed. So we're going to look at that as a team and hopefully maybe make some changes too based on students' voices. Morgan, do you have anything to share about that? You helped that day?
I absolutely loved it. I got to be with the students for a couple hours and it was so much fun. And I mean, I kind of worried, I was with the 5th and 6th grade group and I worried that they were gonna be a little like shy and like maybe not like have things to say or like silly things. I was so impressed with some of the like just things that they had to like, oh, this would be a great idea. And they really caught like, and they just really warmed my heart on, and they had just so many good things to say about Westview and just how great it was. And so it was really cool.
And then moving on, I just posted this up here. As I was onboarding to Westview, I talked a lot about a strategic plan. And these are just some things that have happened so far. I've had my listen and learn tour. We did our student voice roundtable. The very bottom one here is my next step over the next couple of weeks, and we're creating a high reliability survey we're going to give to administrators, to staff, to parents, and to our students in grades 4 through 12. We're going to be focusing on what core values are important to Westview and what a profile of a graduate might look like. So this is just some next steps for the community to know we're kind of working towards too. So, do we have any new hires in the room by chance? We do? Hi, would you like to stand? Please, I thought we might have a couple. Would you like to introduce yourself and let us know what you're doing?
I should know everybody here. I'm Heidi Brom. I'll be the new PE teacher for Meadowview and Topeka.
Great, thank you, Heidi.
I'm Brooklyn Ollinger. I'm going to be the kindergarten teacher at Meadowview.
Great. Welcome. Great. Okay. We do have a couple other late items here with Kendra that we would like to get approved. Yep. So we would need an action for the supplemental stipends that we discussed for our food service.
Need a motion for that? Toby, Josh second. All in favor, raise your right hand. That's 5-0.
And we need an action to extend the contract for our rate that we discussed with Intera.
Need a motion with Intera to hold carry. Chuck, in favor, raise your right hand. That's 5-0 too.
And I think that is all I have.
That's it?
Yep, that is all I have for the
Need a
evening.
motion for adjournment? Sari? Second. Chad second. All in favor, raise your hand. We are adjourned. You kids, any one of us five up here can sign your papers.
I